because one thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna. And you know that I was finding out that too. If I entertain something that I know is not true on the internet, people be like, oh, it is true because you're interested. But when I don't understand it, it's true as well. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just not gonna entertain it. And at the end of the day, I know what's going on. Oh, Happy New Year's to you. Happy New Year's. I love you. Like, you've been killing this. Like, keep going. He's so, like, drunk that he misinterprets the.
It appears that Cardi B just delivered a bombshell. And it went off like a ton of icebergs, and we simply cannot undo it. Everyone. Offset and Saweetie were featured on a leaked dirty tape. Recently, Saweetie has filed a $50 million lawsuit. You'd better stay still because what you're going to hear is really insane. Cardi said, "What? Take care of me?" Now get this. Since 2021, there have been rumors that Offset and Saweetie were having fun when Cardi was pregnant. Q's jumbled lyrics, few attacked the group. It's messy now, fueled the fire. Cardi didn't bite either. In a public statement, she said, "I know. What's going on in my house?" That rumor was referred to as crazy lies with no residues. This is where things get crazy because Joe Budden recently brought the entire story back to life on his podcast. Offset did more than simply deny the infidelity. In essence, he asked, "Are you incorrect?" After that, DJ Academics entered the conversation and began mentioning people like Count Rock, Ari Fletcher, and Saweetie. And you know what? Saweetie is suing him for $50 million, alleging emotional harm and defamation. You know, that bit, and you guys, didn't really see that coming because lawsuits start to come in when the money starts to slow down. Additionally, Selena hasn't heard from you in a long time. It appears that she is entitled to that money. However, the Offset Saweetie rumor had been rife with hip-hop rumors since late 2021. Before that $50 million report rocked the internet. You all know why. Because it wasn't merely a rumor about cheating. It was a rumor of disloyalty in the family. You see, SUES had just broken up with Quo after 2 years of extravagant gobble-goes, Birkin bags, frosty presents, and all the other things Instagram fantasies are about. However, the iconic elevator footage of them fighting about a Call of Duty case was released by TMZ in March 2021. The breakup was ugly just because of the clip. However, it was followed by nuclear power. A few weeks later, she was accused online of having an affair with Offset during his marriage to Cardi. An unidentified business insider made the assertion. Just vibes and chaos. No pictures, no messages, no hotel sighting. However, Cardi even filed for divorce in 2020 due to Offset's confirmed history of infidelity before they reconciled, in order for the rumor to propagate before Offset could release a verse. Messy, the fourth tune on Quo and Takeoff's collaboration album Only Built for Infinity Links, was then released in October 2022. Quavo wrapped up there. BF, I'm not stressed, yet my dog is behind my back. Absolutely not. You ought to have stated that you wanted the gang. It would have been blessed by us. It would have been blessed by us. Became untidy now. Well, the internet just required that one line. Offset in a fan conspiracy meme is comparable to my dog plus the gang. Later, Quo refuted, claiming that individuals were simply over-idealizing. However, the seed was sown, and the Migo broke apart. Soon after, with Quo implying in interviews that allegiance was betrayed. However, the story had somewhat died down by 2023, until Offset and DJ Academics rekindled it like a flicker of gasoline. And then again after the Joe Budden interview. Following Offset's discussion with Joe Budden on the show, this dude went on Twitch and repeated exactly what he had said. Tim Beans, Saweetie, Ari Fletcher, and Offset F. Cown from Starlet's.
Saweetie, Ritual Rock, Ari, like, yo, this is, Offset was piping out chicks that Cardi was supposed to be using.
He said, was practically bashing women as they were leaving. Quinn writes, "I love you" beneath Cardi's Instagram photo. He even claimed that a few of them were friends of Cardi's. Cardi has dealt with allegations in the past, and she went into full denial mode when Selena Powell said she was expecting Offset's child. She later acknowledged that she had learned not to use attention to feed the lies. As she put it, "People are going to make you worse." However, in typical Cardi form, she made an effort to remain silent, at least in public, during the intellectual tirade. Fans, however, think that she went and began gathering receipts behind the scenes. And just that this leads us to the purportedly lewd tape release. Because a leak wasn't an accident if insiders are telling the truth. Must have been retaliation. It would have been planned and intended to cause rifts that no apology tour can mend. Thus, this entire situation might have been another internet tidal wave after scholars released his Offset Smash Sweetheart list back into the public domain. However, due to a purportedly leaked video, it instead became a full-fledged wildfire. We can't display some things on YouTube, so I have to be careful now. However, a number of industry sources claim that Cardi B leaked what is now known as the naughty tape. Additionally, the stars of that tape purportedly Offset, so we can determine whether the whispers are speaking the truth or not. Cardi wasn't merely seeking retribution by leaking it. She allegedly sought to accomplish two goals at once. First, to make sure Saweetie's reputation as a decent girl was severely damaged before her next record was out. And second, to humiliate Offset after years of public disdain. This is where the $50 million comes into play, though. Saweetie isn't only responding with a subtweet. She is allegedly suing Cardi and Offset for intentional emotional anguish, slander, and what her lawyers are describing as deliberate career sabotage. At this point, chaos turns into madness. Blueface attacked X, saying that Count Rock had a relationship with Offset as well. Not just once either. This tea wasn't even brand new. A month before, during their back-and-forth baby daddy drama, he had made a hint about it. However, removing it alongside the CD League now provided the internet a crossover scandal, which was exactly what it wanted. Fans, are divided. According to others, Cardi's decision to share the clip was reckless, even for her, and extremely risky from a legal standpoint. Others think it's consistent with her tendency to slap back strongly when deceived. Additionally, keep in mind that this is not her first lawsuit dance. She was awarded nearly $4 million for defamation against blogger Dasha K in 2022, demonstrating her willingness to battle in court and to act dirty when she felt surrounded. Therefore, one name began trending alongside hers. Quote, as soon as the news of a lawsuit surfaced on gossip portals, and it wasn't just the old clumsy lyrics that did it. According to those familiar with the matter, Quavo may be asked to testify if this lawsuit proceeds. Things might get really bad there. Although Quavo was not directly involved in the leak, he was the ex-boyfriend who witnessed the beginning of the story. Additionally, according to industry insiders, Quavo has been holding on to screenshots, group chat receipts, and even text conversations that support his initial 2021 concerns that Offset and Saweetie had a sexual relationship while he was still dating her. Mention me, Quavo, however, always felt played. Even the fact that they were fictitious relatives proves that he would not be attempting to shield Offset on the witness stand. For years, there was no trust between them. However, things become considerably more complicated at this point. It has been reported that SUES' legal team is investigating the possibility of pursuing DJ Academics for defamatory amplification as well. That's new, huh? In essence, they contend that his frequent public statements contributed to the creation of a misleading narrative that hurt her reputation. And, this isn't the first time that Act's mouth has gotten him into trouble with the law. Do you recall his feud with Megan Thee Stallion during the trial in the Tory Lane? Her lawyers had to send him a letter since he was giving away so much confidential information. Letter of cease and desist. Offset, meanwhile, hasn't exactly behaved well during this whole ordeal because he made fun of Cardi's recent relationship with NFL player Stefon Diggs on that Joe Button podcast. After me, none of my ex-partners upgraded. Given the recent resurgence of the tape leak controversy, the fans were furious with him for that remark. And that small soundbite could wind up being replayed as a court of proof of malice and continued tension if the lawsuit gathers traction. Here's the worst part, though. According to legal insiders, if this case gets to trial, other names from Blueface to Cash Rock, as well as possibly Laquabo's current girlfriend and the possible witness list, could be added. Let's just say that it sounds like the rolling loud lineup, everyone. However, Cardi and Offset won't be the only people in that hot seat if SI's $50 million case actually goes to trial. Leaked receipts, clumsy witness evidence, and confessions that might ruin a career could all be part of this courtroom extravaganza. To date, however, SEI's legal team has based their case on 3 pillars from the Westminster League. Defamation, alleging that the league misrepresented her and harmed her reputation, particularly in light of the significant endorsement deals she was purportedly negotiating. 2. Purposeful mental pain, contending that the person who leaked the footage did so with the goal of degrading and hurting her. 3rd, financial losses, indicating that allegedly revoked performance opportunities and contracts because of the controversy, in order to demonstrate that Cardi or Offset was responsible for the leak. Our team allegedly already filed early discovery requests for digital forensic evidence, which entails obtaining IP addresses, email metadata, and cloud storage logs. Additionally, according to industry sources, Saweetie's attorney has private correspondence between her and Offset that may demonstrate that they had sex. Offset has never openly acknowledged this. Additionally, if those texts were real and were used in court, it would validate years of conjecture and support her allegation that Cardi's motivation was personal revenge. However, because this is where things could go crazy, let's discuss the potential witness list. Whispers stated that subpoenas could be sent to Quavo, Blueface, and Count Rock for their own public remarks regarding Offset's actions. DJ Academics for allegedly spreading untrue rumors, and his awareness of the initial story and any receipts he may be holding. And if that list is even somewhat accurate, we're dealing with a trial that will be as entertaining as it is legally significant. Cardi may be subject to both civil and criminal consequences if the forensic proof links her to that leak. Distributing personal photos without consent is a crime in California that carries a jail sentence. Given that Cardi has already been dealing with the Tasha K payment scandal, a $50 million civil judgment may be financially disastrous even if the criminal aspect is dropped. Offset, however, had the money and Tasha wasn't giving it up. Runs the risk of his whole brand being tarnished. When it comes to possible legal compensation, labels dislike the controversy. Additionally, endorsement agreements could fall through overnight. This is where it becomes even more twisted, though. This might become a betrayal story on top of a retaliation issue, because there is a rumor that the person who sent out that footage may have been someone in Cardi's own camp. This brings us to the unexpected plot surprise. According to several anonymous insiders, the leak may have originated from someone close to Cardi rather than from her own phone. An insider claims that a former assistant in Cardi's inner circle has been discreetly telling attendees at industry gatherings in New York City that they handled a few files for her, including private videos, one of which inadvertently fell into the wrong hands. It's unclear now whether his assistant was let go, departed on bad terms, or was merely trying to gain some influence. However, if the story is true, it creates a whole other problem. If the leak can be linked to Cardi's ownership of the file, she may still be held accountable. Thus, we attorneys may coerce Cardi's associates into giving depositions. Additionally, presents a whole different scenario that involves not only retaliation, but also a potential setup within Cardi's own camp. X-fans are divided into 2 groups. According to one theory, Cardi may have been sharing the video with a trusted team member and they turned rogue to harm her or get a paycheck. The opposing viewpoint holds that Cardi planned the leak and is now in search of a fall guy to avoid legal repercussions. It's noteworthy to note that Offset hasn't mentioned the helper aspect at all. Nothing, no jokes, no denial. The rumor that he either knows it's true or is attempting to avoid adding gasoline to a burning building is being fueled by his silence. However, Saweetie's team's case is strengthened if they can demonstrate that someone in Cardi's circle has access to or shared the file without Cardi's explicit permission. Therefore, if the individual in possession failed to take reasonable precautions to preserve the material, negligent distribution may still be subject to civil responsibility under California law. However, the real kicker is this. Furthermore, there are rumors that the person who sent the video to gossip blogs may have been another famous person who is openly friendly with both Cardi and SI. You guys, if that name is revealed, this trial may end up being one of the worst celebrity betrayals of the decade. Here is a rumor about a middleman. Rumor has it that neither Cardi's assistant at a gossip blog nor her phone received the clip immediately. Instead, Courier was purportedly played by an industry acquaintance who is well friends with both Cardi and Saweetie. Now, two primary suspects have been identified by online gossip investigators. A female rapper who has performed with Cardi and Saweetie at festivals in the past year. A fashion influencer with a history of leaking secret celebrity content to blogs in exchange for a share of ad revenue, who is active in both women's PR circles. Additionally, Saweetie's attorneys can still link the clip to Cardi by demonstrating that she was the original source, even if they can only demonstrate that a third party spread it. Cardi would therefore be unable to assert, "I never sent it to" Saweetie's enemies as a defense if her inner circle did it for her. The conspiracy theories start to get ridiculous at this point. Some fans believe that someone actually planned this middleman move in an attempt to set Cardi and Saweetie against one another. To simultaneously damage both of their brands. Why? Well, consider it. Cardi is preparing for her new album cycle, and Saweetie has been on the verge of a major label push for years. And who stands to gain if both are embroiled in a scandal that portrays them as petty? Rivalry. Indeed, several of those fan theories specifically target female rap competitors who were oddly silent throughout the entire incident. Because of this, even if the lawsuit is formally about a leak and defamation, it may serve as the backdrop for years' worth of personal betrayals, industry rivalries, and other grievances to surface under oath. Here's what is evident, though. The consequences are severe regardless of whether Cardi leaked the film herself or if one of her assistants went rogue over SOS. There is more to SUES' $50 million lawsuit than just financial gain. Reputation, professional survival, and setting an example for those who attempted to undermine her were all at stake. Now, this is a nightmarish situation for Cardi and Offset. Cardi is currently awaiting a decision in the Natasha K lawsuit worth millions of dollars. In addition, his solo career is still establishing itself following the Migos, and he is once again in the news, but not for the right reasons. As with the initial 2021 rumor, they will likely never know the whole truth if they settle. However, if it goes to trial, you can bet that witness evidence, DMs, and text conversations will make Massey sound like a children's song. And the internet won't withstand the jokes if that middleman's name is revealed in public. However, the actual the question now is not just if Saweetie will prevail in her case, but also if Cardi's inner circle will turn against her. To protect himself, will the officer put Cardi under the bus? Will Quavo ultimately validate the rumor of cheating that sparked it all? Because this won't be a celebrity controversy if any one of those things occurs. It will be a domino effect that ends careers. However, I heard from all of you. Do you believe that Cardi intentionally licked the tapes? Was this an internal setup? Or is someone in the business manipulating Cardi and Saweetie to keep them both preoccupied? You should all leave a comment below with your ideas because the lawsuit is still ongoing and the specifics are becoming more complicated every day. Believe me, this story is about to get even wilder in the upcoming chapter. If you're my best friend and you're a true fat beat, make sure you hit the like button. To view the nested, hit the not tea girl, ring that bell. I hope to see you in the upcoming video.